Today, Precarious plays
Phantom Brave. Are you kidding me? Is that really what I need? I was going to come back and say, bad news, I can't heal Ash. But I think exactly here, I can just narrowly heal exactly Ash.
You have a 5% share of Ash's left butt cheek. And by that, you are going to apply the most gentle swab of medicine. Just...
And it was a full heal because I don't screw around with my healers.
It probably wasn't a swab. It was probably like EpiPen style, like, live, stick.
Right in the butt cheek. And it's funny because everybody always made fun of, like, not made fun of, but gave Ash a hard time for his bubble butt. Mm-hmm. That doesn't really match his build. But now he's glad he has it.
Yeah. Saved his ass.
Hey!
Oh, that wasn't a very good joke.
Oh, I don't have a lot of my strong techniques. So what do I want to do? Do I want to... Yeah, I'm gonna... One of those could probably go over there pretty easily and bash January in the head.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to heal her up. And that will be Morona's turn. I've been doing some investigating in, I think it's called A-Star. It is a method of calculation for grids, right? It is, from what I understand, I don't want to say the best way because I'm not that familiar with the alternatives. It is certainly a very visible, popular method of determining like grid-based movement in strategy games and stuff.
Okay.
Like it's the code underneath it that enables that, right?
Okay.
And after having investigated that, just because I was curious, like how it works,
Yeah.
I have no clue how this game functions, and it makes it much more impressive in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that I've pointed out that this game has some
I will protect
pretty serious pathing problems, right?
Goofy.
Yeah, with the slippery fields and the bouncy field effects that are available
Mm-hmm.
in the free-form movement. I don't understand really like how it works, like how they got it to function at all. I mean, just in the context of a strategy title, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy enough to tell an object to go move to a location, but that combined with like the strategy layer, like the fact that enemies ever do anything that I look at and go, oh no, why did you, oh man, that really put a damper on my plans.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that that ever happens is kind of amazing. That said, I do feel that it's probably not worth the investment. I still don't think it matches the tone of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, pardon me, I think a better style of game for Phantom Brave, like the tone of the story,
Mm-hmm.
might be something closer to Soul Nomad, where you group people together in little teams. Have I described that to you before? Like, have you seen it? Or have you seen me play Ogre Battle 64?
I don't know. I don't think so. Wait, no, yes. Ogre Battle, where you get those little 3x3 grids,
Yes.
and then you put people on them, and then you go forth!
Right, and they act basically autonomously in battle. There are orders that you can give to them, but they're very general. And it's like, retreat, aim for... Is there a retreat order? I know that you can interrupt the battle to use a metered resource, like a super attack.
Mm-hmm.
What are they called? They're elemental charms or tokens of some sort, right?
Yeah.
It's basically a big, like, summoning attack that is bound to your protagonist. That you, as, like, the ever-present, omnipotent, like, I don't know. What is the subtitle? This person of lordly caliber. So whatever lordly spirit is watching over this fighting force, you interject on your protagonist's behalf, and you're like, yeah, now is the time to use the dark artifact we acquired.
Yeah.
To rain globs of darkness on the battlefield, or a big water laser. I don't remember what they look like. I honestly, like, you don't get to use them very often until much later in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it's highly situational, I think. I sort of had to, like, coach myself through and say, like, if it's ready, use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I want to... I think I need to try to put somebody in that staff, because these guys are very grab happy.
Yeah. They even pick up each other, you know? They're just like, oh,
I think it's
look
because...
at that uncomfortable fellow. Look at him. Just look at him.
It's funnier this way. It sort of looks like... Like, have you ever had, like, a pet that comes up to you and it's like, oh, no, right here. Oh, yeah. You know, you don't move. I'll move. I'll rub me on you.
Scratch this part. No, north, south. You know what? Stop. You stop. Hold still.
Yeah, I think that something like that would... You know what is really funny? I think that I would prefer to have lived in the timeline, in the parallel universe, where Phantom Brave and Soul Nomad, if their main gameplay thrust, like their sort of structural stuff for how your party members are arranged, the world where they were flipped. Because I think that the madcap, anything goes, free-for-all of Phantom Brave fits Gig in particular.
Yeah.
I think it fits him much better than Phantom Brave. And I think that if Morona were to... I'm thinking, like, maybe instead of confining to specific items, if you were to summon, like, a horde of phantoms that you pre-prepared in a 3x3 grid, if you summoned them from something more general, like if there was a glade or a little patch of forest, right?
Yeah.
And they would adopt the properties of that. I think that could actually be really interesting. I kind of just wish that NIS had enough money to just have 3 or 4 teams just mixing and matching all of their ideas.
Yeah, because they are very interesting ideas. There's a whole lot of them. I think that well, in combination with the characters of NIS games, I think that, well, I don't know.
What's up?
I find a lot of the characters that I've come into contact with from NIS to be interesting or funny or just enjoyable for one reason or another. But I have had less contact with these titles than you have, but I have talked to you about their mechanics more. And I was going to say that in combination with the characters, the ideas are really interesting. And if you just mixed and mixed all of the characters and ideas, I think eventually you would come up with something super duper fancy, extra special, double cool. I know that was a bunch of really good words to use for critique, but
I'm just thinking right now about any other combinations that I would like to see.
Like the possibilities.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I think some of them... Ooh, what if you combined the worst parts of every game? Do you think that would accidentally make a good game?
Every NIS game?
Yeah.
No, I think it would make a...
Unplayable...
I think you would wind up with a very dark, dirty, not very well written visual novel. Because I think that that's what individual games that they've made have dipped into. So that's just off of the top of my head. Like, what happens if you combine the worst parts? And it's like, like that scene from Swamp Witch and 100 Night. Is that the title? 100 Night and the something. Metalia's game.
Okay.
If you were to combine like the worst parts of that, and if you were to take like the worst localization stuff from Disgaea 5, and then if you were to take the part of the games which always makes me feel like the most guilty whenever I try to recommend them.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me because I think that because I've seen so much of the series, I do think that Disgaea does a much better job than a lot of series about equal opportunity pandering.
Yeah.
I feel like there are as many tasty, delicious boys as there are tasty, delicious girls.
Yeah, but a lot of the times it's a little bit... Not... It is pandering. There's plenty of it. But at least it's more even pandering.
Well, it's just, I think that probably one of the best examples is in Disgaea 5. I think that Kilia's design visually is just as, like, weird anime sexualized as Serafina.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, he's, like, not a healthy degree of muscle, of fat to muscle. He's super bony, and he's got, like, his whole midriff exposed to show off the gun show, the abs.
Mm-hmm.
Has, like, the really low-cut hip line.
Yeah.
Like, it shows off the hip bone region, pelvis bone.
Yeah.
And Serafina is a couple of Christmas hams taped to a beanpole.
Tucked into some sort of, dress or...
I can't... Okay.
You couldn't tell me because...
The one thing I can tell you about Serafina's outfit is it took me, like, 30 hours to recognize that she's wearing a tiny little... Not a bow tie.
A skinny tie?
A necktie.
Oh, a necktie.
Yeah.
Just a regular tie.
Just a regular long-tailed necktie. But it's hard to make out a little facet of it, which is that it's trapped between her boobs. So it's it puffs up a little bit below, and you can barely see like a little triangle of fabric, if I'm remembering correctly, after the long, hard road south. They did it. They succeeded in coming up with something that is so overly sexualized that it goes full circle and is hilarious.
Just a joke.
Yeah.